Yo, this is JERELL of the CANNABRUHZ. That's right, CANNABRUHZ. You can check us out at the CANNABRUHZ on all your major social media platforms, the CANNABRUHZ podcast and media brand. Coming soon to a city near you. I had an amazing time with my boy Mike at Dro TV. You know, I had to go ahead and light up one time. So shout out to Dro TV. Shout out to my boy Mike. If you're not tapped in and tuned in yet, you missing out, man. Smash that like button, subscribe button, and share it with somebody. You know you like somebody and that you really could share this with, and they really would appreciate you a bit more once you share Dro TV. JERELL of the CANNABRUHZ. Check us out too, and we out.
Welcome to My First Time, the show about your first time getting high on marijuana. I'm your host, Mike Freeman with Dro TV. Today, I'd like to welcome our guest, JERELL Duncan. What's happening, my friend?
Yo, what's up, my man? How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for coming on Dro TV today.
Oh, all my pleasure, man. You know, we have to make sure we share love and put our arms around one another in this industry. So it's my pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. You can find more of JERELL and the CANNABRUHZ podcast.
That's right.
On Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn as well. So all the links will be down below. JERELL, let our audience know a little bit about yourself, where you're located, and what you got going on in the cannabis community.
Yeah, man. A little bit about myself and, my flag that I plant. I am a co-host and a co-creator and producer of the CANNABRUHZ podcast. Of course, I'm one half of the CANNABRUHZ. My other partner, Corey Millsap, is the other CANNABRUHZ. And what we look to do on the CANNABRUHZ podcast and media brand is just basically shed a light on all the really dope brands that are out there. There's a lot of hardworking people, cannabis business owners that the only thing they're missing is a little bit of extra visibility. So we're looking to put our arms around the community as a whole, from the business owners to the consumers, to everybody, even the ancillary businesses that help power, these businesses and get that necessarily core foundation. So that's what we do on both sides. We're more of like the Clark Kent Superman thing I think I was telling you about, where by day, we're actually the owners of Harvest accounting firm, right? And it's a cannabis accounting firm that is literally looking to do that while teaching you the importance of proper accounting, bookkeeping, tax planning. We do everything, CFO level services, as well as helping with pro forma services in the early stages of getting you the investments that you need. So yeah, man, harvestaf.net. That's the accounting firm. And then the CANNABRUHZ podcast is something that's a little bit more fun, where we get to put our cape on and fly high,
Awesome.
Yeah.
I checked out a couple episodes on YouTube, and definitely high energy.
Thank you.
And
much appreciated.
A lot of good information there, especially with some of your guests. So
yes, sir.
Definitely go down there and subscribe and check out some of their episodes.
Yeah.
JERELL, what you smoking on?
Man, I am actually smoking on. I got introduced to a new brand. This is DVNT that we met at the expo. So it's a little bit of a little hemp, it's legal everywhere, a little bit of hemp that I'm smoking on right now, just to kind of give a calming, like relaxing type of feel before I, get into a conversation, or even as I go throughout my workday. So I recommend it. Yeah.
Awesome. Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
So JERELL, the show is My First Time.
Yeah.
Please tell our audience about the first time you got high on marijuana.
Oh man. So let me tell you, first thing is, I was one of those people. It seems like everybody in the industry, they started so early, and we talk about after you age a little bit, you realize that, hey, this is, I don't know if that was the greatest move to start so early. Now, I wasn't really I didn't have too much hindsight, but I never really was, tempted too much by marijuana. I grew up around a lot of people that smoked at an early stage or early age. But I actually didn't smoke until I was like a few years into college, man.
Okay.
Yeah. I went to the University of North Texas, or UNT as people in Texas know it. And here's the story. Let me get into it. I worked as a cafeteria attendant, basically, right? Like I was flipping hamburgers and making pizzas and washing dishes at Kerr Hall. So if you know about UNT, you'll know about Kerr, because Kerr back in the day, I ain't gonna date myself, but back in the day, Kerr used to stay open till like 2 a.m. Right. I don't believe they do this any longer, but Kerr used to stay open till like 2 a.m. And I worked that shift. It was like 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. range. Uh and whatever. So I worked with some pretty cool people. One of them, or I'll say two of them for this story's sake, is my boy Andrew Bowman, and my boy Dan. And Dan, one day, like many genius ideas that come up in the cafeteria at 11 p.m., he's like, hey, there's a party that I'm going to. See, of course, we're all students at UNT as well. So you're going to be mentioning, hey, I know about this going on. When we get out of here, let's head here, whatever, right? So Dan basically tells us about a party that he knows about. And it's college time. Of course, I'm going to go to every party that I'm available for.
Sure.
Right? Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Um, and he invites us out to this party. I remember riding with Dan. We get to the party much earlier than necessary. Like, when you say, oh, you're going to be late, because you want to make an entrance, we were
Sure.
doing the opposite, bro. Like we were there way too early. Like we looked a little bit too hyped for this party, which in reality, I was just going with the guy that invited me. So I didn't know what time the party was going to kick off, right? So it's taken so long for the party to start that he says, look, man, this is taking too long. I need to go cop something, right? Now, I knew exactly what he meant, but once again, growing up around it doesn't mean it necessarily was like that tempting to me. It kind of just was cool. That's weed. Cool. This is alcohol. I also didn't drink until 21, right?
Okay.
And at this time, probably 20 or 21, like at during this time, my first time smoking marijuana. And I hop in the car with him when he says he has to pick something up. And, we meet his guy, his dealer or whatever, in the corner of some apartment complex or whatever. He gets what he gets from him. And he's like, okay, cool. We go back. Party still hasn't kicked off. That's the
Okay.
worst part. I say, look, we were horrible, man. We were not being cool about this, but the party still hadn't kicked off. So we just kind of naturally, made our way to the balcony. We make our way to the balcony. He's rolling up. He lights up, and he says, all right, it's lit pretty much just like this right now, right? He lights it up, and he just like, here you go. And I just go, shit, man, why not? I literally go ahead and hit it. I hit it a few times. We passed it back and forth. We're out there just talking, and it's just about nothing, right? Like, what do guys talk about when they're getting high on the balcony, no one else is around, right? We're
Yeah.
just kind of just talking, and that's when it kicks in. Eventually, I don't know how long we were out there, right? But eventually, man, it kicks in, and we're standing on this balcony. Now, if you ever been in one of those like higher apartment complexes, like it's in a college town, but it's like maybe 4 stories high or 5 stories high, whatever, right? We're up pretty high on the top level. And where we're standing, you can see everything. So there's no walls that are blocking. We're not like inside a confined hallway space. We
Right.
are literally just standing out, soaking up the good air, right? And I'm looking, and I start to notice the apartment building slightly turn, right? Look, man, I noticed the apartment building slightly turn, and I'm like, I haven't moved my feet. And that's when I go, oh, snap, I'm high, right? And so it wasn't a scary feeling. Like I said, I think I'd been enough patient enough to try marijuana at such a late age, right?
Right.
That it wasn't scary or anything, so it was just a ride. So I already understood, that I should embrace it. And that's exactly what I did, man. I don't remember how much longer, of course, because time is warped now at this point. But I don't know how much longer we stayed out there, but we made our way back into the party. The party had finally kicked off. And I remember crashing down on a futon. We smoked a little bit more. I guess the people who lived at the apartment or whatever were not, pro canna inside their apartment necessarily. So we came a few times in and out, just to smoke a little bit more and keep the buzz going.
Right.
Crashed back on that futon every single time. And I just remember sinking. And I was just thinking, man, at this point, it's a full party. The lights are on and off, music on and off. There's, girls everywhere. It's a good time. But I just remember it as more of a flash because of the lights and everything. And that was it. Nothing else crazy, man. We ended up, I know we went to get like Whataburger or something. If you live in the state of Texas, and you're out anywhere after midnight, you're gonna get Whataburger, right? And if you get past that point, you kind of creep into what do you call it? Into breakfast time. So
Right.
now Whataburger starts serving these honey butter chicken biscuits. Now I remember getting a honey butter chicken biscuit because those things are good, sober or not, and going back home and crashing out for the best sleep of my life, man. It was dope, man, and that was my first time getting high on marijuana.
So I got several questions here.
Yeah.
So the party, it was not like your typical party once you got stoned. I mean, were you just kind of watching from the couch?
Oh yeah, I was just simply at that point, I'm just watching from the couch. Like to be honest, maybe more happened. I typically don't forget anything really while I'm stoned. You know what I mean? It's just a different perspective, right?
Right.
So I remember everything. I just remember it being a pretty chill, well, my interaction with the party, right?
Right.
Like I wasn't the guy that was jumping off tables or anything. Once that weed hit my system, man, I was just having a good time and relaxing. I was enjoying the views. There was a lot of, beautiful young women at that party, and so I may have gotten up and kind of, got a little two-step or something in there, but, I wasn't doing too much. I remember it just being pretty chill. Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So consumption wise, did it pick up from there, or was it just kind of because you were still in school, more kind of casual, recreational?
Yeah. It didn't really pick up. It didn't really pick up too much for me after that. That's the funny part about it. Though I didn't have a scary scary high or anything or a crazy experience, I didn't continue to it didn't immediately ramp up, and my consumption level didn't immediately go up to, from a gram to, 10 grams to, whatever. I didn't naturally go that way. I kind of took my time with it. I'm just not a guy that's easily peer pressured into anything. So my peers couldn't do it for me, because otherwise I would have already started smoking.
Right.
I was in college for a few years at that point. So I would have smoked before that. I would have smoked in high school and stuff. But it took about, I would say, honestly, 3 to 4 years, man, before I really decided hey, it's important to have my own personal stash all the time. I understood quality, even when we're talking black market, street level stuff. I understood, hey, I don't need that, or I don't like shake, or I don't.
Right.
What do I need the trim for? I'm not doing edibles, whatever, right? I didn't learn a lot of that immediately, and it kind of took its time. It was a gradual thing. Yeah.
Okay. Was there something in your life, sports injury or something that told you that marijuana, cannabis is a medicine? And I mean, now you're an advocate. You've got
Yeah.
accounting firm, you've got the podcast. So what was it
Yeah.
that kind of made you want to get into this community?
Oh, from the business standpoint, I guess so. It's almost completely separate. You know
Okay.
what I mean? So my business partner and I, Corey, we we actually started a tax office. So on the financial service side, it actually started as a local brick and mortar tax office. Like we started that in 2016. And we're just doing individual taxes. We're doing some small business tax, just kind of whatever came to us. We didn't really have a specialty or a niche of any kind, but we realized, hey, we want to take this thing to the next level just on a financial service piece, and so we chose cannabis. When we went through, we had kind of had a list of all the different industries that we could really get into. And maybe it's because at that time, now I've been smoking maybe 5 years, even on and off on a casual manner. I still was for the plant. I was still for the plant. I was still pro cannabis for sure when it came to the rights, and I casually kept up with different things in the news and law that was going on. So when it was time for us to choose a niche and cannabis was on that list, it was no question about it. We had to go in the direction of cannabis because there were people out there, such as my own family. Like I literally had like family close by me that I grew up my entire life with, whose lives were altered based on the laws in their state, and the punishment for possession or intent to distribute or whatever the exact cases or may be. So that was really just, I was already for it. Now it's time to say, hey, let's help people out. Let's help business owners out. Let's help people that really need this out to now that we know more, now that we have some leverage about the financial literacy, accounting, bookkeeping, taxes, understanding what they may not necessarily care about until tax time. We got a way to convey it to them. And just to fast forward that, when it was time for us to ramp up our marketing for the accounting firm, man, Corey and I were like, yo, a podcast, yo, let's get on online, let's record, let's teach them about how this stuff really makes it, like, really impacts your business and impacts your life, right? Understanding entity structure, all kind of stuff like that. And we started the CANNABRUHZ podcast, man, based on what the accounting firm was doing, but couldn't necessarily talk about and garner attention for.
Right.
So yeah, man, and that was it, man. CANNABRUHZ podcast been rocking, man, since July of 2021. So we're kind of babies in the game, but we're moving fast. We're trying to be rookies of the year, basically.
Yeah, for sure. No, you guys are definitely on your way. So that's awesome.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Yeah.
Can you talk about some of the businesses you work with?
Yeah.
The struggles they deal with from an accounting standpoint, and what do you think are some of the biggest issues that is why you provide the service you do?
Yeah. So, I mean, due to the fact that it's not federally legalized yet, right? We're just on a state by state basis. Much like I've mentioned with, like, my close family members who, based on their state that they resided in, they couldn't, everybody's going through something different for a similar charge, so a lot of the issues that our clients have, due to them being in different states, we're based out of Texas, but our clients are in Colorado and Michigan and Illinois, right? And Florida, right? Coming up here. So because of that, we have to be aware of the ever-changing gray regulatory world that we live in. Like, we have to be extremely aware of what's going on state by state. And what we've seen are things like issues with capital. That's one of the major things. So that's when we come in with the pro forma services, this is what we aim to help with. If we can get your numbers correct, we can truly project, show those true cash projections and everything to prospective investors, then that could change your fate, right? That could change your entire trajectory of your life if you get this business started and get it off the ground. So we help there. Other issues that a lot of our clients will have is messy books. A lot of cannabis business owners out there, we tell y'all, man, cut that shit out, man. These messy books, people are commingling funds. They are like paying for a brand new TV for their living room out of the same bank account that they're buying supplies, right? And that's the issue immediately for us. You know, when we come in on the accounting firm side to help businesses, the first thing we're going to do is analyze what you've already done, look and decide and determine if there's a need for cleanup, right? So we look to clean up that and then set up our industry specific chart of accounts. So going forward, everything that every expense that happens, everything that incurs, transfers, income, whatever, goes through a certain bucket so that it can be properly allocated to benefit them the most at tax time. So that's, that's the big issues, but mostly capital, mostly messy books. And what else are we seeing for the most part? Oh, internal controls like cash procedures and things like that. Those kind of things are the most common issues that we incur in the industry.
Yeah. Okay. What do you mean by cash procedures?
So you may see something much like, hey, he's buying a TV for his living room and buying supplies at the same time. You also will have people who don't have anyone designated to actually handle the cash. It's just like the person that's the closest to it, whoever's on duty. It could be anybody, when in reality, security, internal controls, cash controls, and cash procedures are all extremely important. Like, people think, I trust this person. Yeah, you trust that person with $100, not 100,000. You got to think most cannabis companies, or just the entire industry, is cash intensive, right? So there's so much cash moving around just because of the way banks are treating the cannabis industry, that you're going to have to trust that person with a lot more than you've ever trusted that person with. And we see people on a smaller scale and a bigger scale that have gone through those issues with someone skimming some off the top, right? And not only do they not have the correct personnel, they also may not have a secure system. This person picks it up from the time of 1 to 3. There should only be 2 pickups a day. There should be 2 drop-offs a day, things like that, to where they actually can track it. It's easily able to be tracked. So people don't think about this, but your accountant and your CPA firm, your accounting team or whatever, they actually can help you if they're good at what they do. Because for us, it's a concern. We need to know, hey, you say there's 25,000 this year that you can't figure out where it went. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Right? So you may be making so much, but you don't have to be throwing it all away. There's a smart way to do this. And, that's what we help with at the accounting firm. So that's a big thing. And it's these same ideas, man, that I'm speaking to you about now is what we try to convey through the CANNABRUHZ podcast and media platform. We're looking to create more smart cannabis business owners, right? Hey, this is an industry where they already don't want us to survive in this industry. Why help them? Right? Like, why would you help them prove their case? They're like, see, we told you they're not professional. They're buying TVs and supplies together. Like, they told you they weren't professional. They don't even understand, higher level CFO services. They don't understand tax planning, projections. They're just selling weed, right? So that's the point where we're like, hey, be smart about it. We're trying to create more cannabis business owners for our sake, to be honest, right? But then we're also trying to create more smart cannabis business owners, or entrepreneurs, as you know them. That's what we're trying to do. Yeah,
I like that.
Yes, sir.
I can attest. I started my first business when I was 19, and I was like, I had, took managerial accounting and some, debit credit. I figured some of it out, but got to a point where it was like, well, I mean, this was, maybe I'm dating myself now, 10, 15 years ago. And it's like, okay, well, for 150, 200 bucks, not only will this person review what I've done, maybe they'll even file my taxes, but also, I'm getting valuable information from someone who is a CPA, or somebody that knows more about this. Maybe they can help me. Maybe we won't say hide money, but defer things, or things end up in a certain column where it benefits you. And
Hey, everybody, I want to quickly mention food forest abundance. Food forest abundance is a great way to create your own self-sustaining food forest and naturally occurring ecosystem that's commonly found in nature, but designed specifically for you. Through multiple layers of trees, shrubs, herbs, vines, rhizomes, mushrooms, and perennial vegetables, you can become your own supply chain without the typical maintenance required of a garden. From small spaces to large areas, both urban and suburban, Food Forest Abundance wants us to get back to our roots in nature by engaging with our food production in a meaningful way. For more information, click on the link in the description below and start your journey today. Okay, let's get back to today's episode.
especially, do you have a level of, businesses that you're working with, or are you open to, small business entrepreneurs and stuff like that as well?
Yeah, that's a great question. I appreciate you asking me that, because our motto is we're with you from seed to success. So
Awesome.
with that being said, I mean, even when you look at our packages, you go to harvestaf.net and look at our packages, you'll be able to see a seed package, which means you have less employees, it's less revenue, right? Just imagine being a smaller business. The seed, grow, and harvest packages. So those are our three, right? Grow clearly means, hey, you're off to the races, you're doing some things, and your structure is a little bit bigger just in size, right? And your operation as a whole is. And then your harvest packages where it goes into, hey, we're 5 years in the game, we're at $10 million a year annually, or whatever that threshold is may be. But those are bigger companies. So when we say we're with you from seed to success, we literally mean, yes, we help you get your pro forma. We take care of your pro forma services for your pitch deck, helping you to get investors. And then we became your month-to-month, day-to-day, bookkeeper and accountants and all our service providers, So we work with everybody, but we also have, on the other hand, a team that's big enough. And shout out to our team, by the way. Shout out to all of Harvest Accounting Firm, by the way. But and our team, because our team allows us to take on those bigger wells, as we call them. Those clients that are so big that they're a great opportunity, and they literally breed more opportunities because they're such a big factor in the industry. So we have enough to take care of those really big 20 plus location operations, those type of entities. We have enough for that as well. So shout out to the team.
Awesome. Yeah. Shout out to the team. I love it. From seed to harvest.
From seed to success.
Seed to success.
Excellent. That's right.
I love it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Jerell, we got a couple minutes left.
Yeah.
How about some advice for one of your small business entrepreneurs out there that's maybe contemplating doing books on their own, or maybe they're not sure, or maybe it's somebody that's just every couple months is at a festival setting up. Any advice for these small businesses and how best they can handle their accounting?
Yeah. So look, we understand that it's a pricey thing, especially when you're bleeding cash to hire on a financial service provider. And if you aren't aware enough of the importance of understanding financials in general, put it that way, right? If you just aren't big on, you're like, oh, I didn't do great in math in school, I don't really care about that part, I know we can make a lot of money, I just look at the margins, right? If you don't look at anything more than the margins and how you can be profitable, but you don't understand all of that, then think about it. You're also probably not going to be, really quick to want to hire someone because you understand their value. So the first thing I would say is 280E and 471. Those are two numbers right there that could wrap all of this up, because 280E, all right, is Internal Revenue Code. It's a tax found by the tax courts, where that is the reason why you can't legally have business deductions if you're in the cannabis industry. Nowhere in the cannabis industry can you have business deductions due to 280E, and there are court cases and everything that are tied to this and why this happened. There was a major court case, Edmondson versus Commissioner in 1981. That was a big one that changed the game. it's those cases that made the tax courts basically create 280E, right? And what came from that is the Controlled Substance Act as well, which puts every drug that there is on a schedule, right? And the problem with cannabis is it being a Schedule I drug that we're trying to deschedule at this very moment. I'm watching everything the president has going on too. That is the reason these things exist. So because it needs to be descheduled to a Schedule II, it's up there with Schedule I, like heroin or LSD, right? It's up there right now. And that's problematic because we know that the flower is not necessarily what those things are, right? And I would say understand 280E. And then 471 is cost accounting. Gap accounting with cost accounting paired together is the only legal method to actually give you a little bit of resistance with the cannabis business. So people don't understand that, and that's extremely important. So the first step, and first and second, if you want to divide them, is understand 280E, understand 471. If you get to the end of those and you've tried your hardest to understand those, and yeah, you save money in that time by not hiring somebody, but you still don't get it, call someone like Harvest AF, at harvestaf.net, or a real financial service provider that understands those things, 280E, 471, gap accounting, cost accounting for the cannabis industry. I don't care how long they spent doing accounting for real estate and in the medical community or whatever they did, 18, 20, 25 years in accounting. If they have no skin in the game, if they have no skin in the game when it comes to cannabis businesses, they may not be ready to service your business to take you to the levels that you really believe you deserve to be. So that's where I would start. Like I said, if you get to 280E and 471 and you still need some help, harvestaf.net. We got you. And the CANNABRUHZ will keep telling you, of course, as well.
Excellent. So yeah, make sure you're subscribed and following the CANNABRUHZ on YouTube. JERELL,
yeah,
awesome. Great stuff. Let everybody know the best place they can find more of you guys.
Hey, you just said it, man. Our big daddy is the big daddy platform is YouTube right now. So www.youtube.com/c/the-CANNABRUHZ. That's TheCannaBruhz. So make sure you spell that last part. We get CANNABRUHZ all the time, but it's BRUHZ. And on other major social media platforms like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and even LinkedIn, it's just at the CANNABRUHZ. So make sure you check us out there. Show us some love. We got some really exciting content that's coming out soon. Some big discussions and interviews. And it's only up from here. So that's it.
Excellent. And we'll make it easy for you. All the links will be in the description below. So just go down there and you'll be able to find them. And for those of you watching this on YouTube, make sure you go down there and smash the like button for JERELL and leave a comment. Some excellent information as far as accounting goes and other stuff in the cannabis community. So also make sure you're subscribed to Dro TV here on YouTube, because otherwise you'd miss amazing guests and interviews like this one. So thank you again, my friend. And that's it for today. And as always, smoke them if you got them.
All right, and we up.
What's up, Dro TV family? You can now stream the audio version of all these episodes on your favorite podcast player. And if you like more episodes like this, check out this playlist we put together over here for you. And if you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube. You don't want to miss more great content from Dro TV. Thank you for tuning in. And as always, smoke them if you got them.